guys, I am ExactChaos and welcome back to another episode of Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. We, in the last episode, had planned out all of this major infrastructure to try and get our new nuclear area over here connected a little bit more comprehensively with our new areas beyond the Sasselgrad refinery, really. So that's kind of just trying to link things up a little bit. If we go and look at the map in general, we are in this location. So here is our new nuclear mines, our nuclear refinery. This is connecting us to a future connection to another Soviet border, which will be useful for our exports. At the moment, practically all of our exports is running through this area here to Novograd, so we'll need to name this area and go over there. But ultimately, we still need to put the central logistics area and port in place over here. So that's where this new connection is going to. It can also provide us some fairly direct connectivity through to this side, and it makes me wonder, we probably need this connection to tie in through there and then tie up on this side. And this is our tourism area here. So we need to go and expand and plan out in that area. And then I was kind of wondering whether we farm somewhere. Maybe somewhere like over here is a potential farming area. We do need to do the aluminum will be somewhere over here, I believe. And so maybe aircraft manufacturing and airport can be in this area. That'll be fairly close to the tourism side of things. So maybe actually farming goes down in this area. This is pretty low-lying areas, lots of water, fairly flat, I believe, where this side is a little bit more hilly and so on. So maybe this area is not great for that. But anyway, we will continue to plan that out. Did we have... Oh, we've got additional coal mining, but I don't think we're going to need additional coal mining. We've got so much coming out of this area that we're not tapping yet. We've already set up in this area for potential future iron mining, so I don't think we need to necessarily focus on that. Aha! This is probably what we're going to do in this area right over here. Is additional oil, at least some additional oil mining or oil drilling that's going to happen in this area. Uranium, I think we're all done. We don't need any more than that. And then bauxite, we're targeting this area for aluminum and bauxite. We don't necessarily need to target any other areas for that. I think we're going to have enough with just the one. But oil definitely is of interest. So oil over here, maybe we'll actually tap all of these oil fields as we get to it. So yeah, potentially some good oil work that's going to need to happen over here. So yeah, so I guess we can... The question is, our refinery is over here, right? Yeah, the refinery is over here. So a through connection through this way is actually not a bad idea to tie in with this. So I guess, yeah, that's kind of the plan potentially. Let's switch that off. Let's close this down. But I think the first thing we want to do is, what am I doing? Hide my mini map there. Okay, so yeah, so this area could be a future oil area. Let's just see in terms of levels. Yeah, sorry about that if I'm blinding you. In terms of levels, it's okay. What we might want to do here, though, is see if we could potentially squeeze out something like this, really. Is that going to be too steep straight away, really? It's... So if we did this, yeah, unfortunately, I didn't quite plan that one out. So we could do something like that, right? Give ourselves a little bit of room. I guess this should be able to go up here ultimately. I mean, if we plan this, if we level this out a little bit, let's quickly try and get rid of that. Can we potentially level this out? Do we have someone close enough to be able to at least... Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's try and... actually, let's level from that area. I think this should be fairly reasonable if we can make that work, right? So if we were to do this, I want to, the one thing I do want to do is I want to give ourselves enough room here to put a set of signals in there. So the plan would be that we're going to do it pretty tight up on this side, so it's not ideal, really. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, so something like that really is going to be the case. So it's going to be a little tight this way. And then what we'll need to do is we'll need to tie it in like so. So I think that'll work because we should be able to, yeah, we should be able to get some signals on both sides of this, and that'll run on this side also. Okay, I think I like that. So at least we have the stubs in here to help feed the oil area and have the through movement on this side. And we'll do something similar on the other side where we tie it in, or at least see how we tie it in. While we still need to work on this because this needs to go quite high and over. So we'll see how we tie this one in back on the other side also. Okay, so let's do this. Let's activate that at least for construction so we have that working. Okay, so these guys should be, yeah, building away like crazy. So that's all good. The paths and the roads and everything is running. Excellent. Now, money good, happiness good, health good, unemployment good, numbers are pretty good as well. I'm still a little annoyed by what I'm seeing here. We're seeing, why are we seeing fertilizer? Okay, hang on. This is not supposed to be fertilizer. Do we have anything in here? We've got nothing in there. Composition of waste. There shouldn't be any waste in here at all. So what? There's nothing here. Why are we... Holy moly. This is mixed waste. This is fine. These other ones are mixed waste, but the rest are saying they've got fertilizer in here. And I cannot for the life of me identify anything in here. So, what I think we need to do, I need to fix this before it becomes a problem. So we want a waste truck, right? We've got waste trucks in a number of locations. We don't have... Let's just see. Do we have a... Let's just see if we've got a depot nearby. There's always a little bit of fixing going on in this game. Always. Because things get out of hand a little bit. So if we go here, we want a road depot. Road vehicle depot. I guess we don't have one. Okay. So, what we need to do... I'm going to fly over this way. And we're going to delete one of these. Right? So this one we're not using anymore. So let's just demolish that one. Get it out of the way. Bring it over this way. Right. I think we should have something in here, right? What is this? Oh my. What when did this happen? But that's I don't think it's devastating, but we'll fix it nonetheless, but it means the firefighters didn't actually get here. Anyway, that is something that could happen from time to time. Let's go back into the list and up here, and still no road platforms. I wish I knew. Road vehicles depot. Oh, these guys are kind of doing their thing in this area, just in general, right? Road vehicles depot? No. Okay, so we don't have a free one at least. So what we'll do is grab a free road vehicles depot. Or not one that has availability. We'll pop it in kind of wherever we can. We'll just place it in there. I'm going to grab kind of, not one of these guys. I'm going to grab one of these guys and move it over here, right? So once it's there, I'm going to ask it to please move all of the fertilizer from all of these spots to one of them, and then once we've got that underway, we can try and at least fix it. At least it shouldn't be a big deal. So we've got this guy here. Now what we want you to do is we want you to be going here, here. Oh, hang on. Can I... Okay, let's just cancel this stuff. Maybe I'm... Okay, so what we want you to do is there, and there. there, and there, and there, and you'll drop it off at the last one, right? So you are going to load fertilizer, wait until loaded. Load fertilizer, wait until loaded. Load fertilizer, wait until loaded. Load fertilizer, wait until loaded, switch that off. Load, wait until loaded, etc., etc., right? And so on until we've got all of them at least semi cleared up, right? That's the plan. Load there, and then unload all of that, wait until unloaded, and that should be everything, right? And start, please. Okay, so now it's heading out. What I want to keep an eye on is this actually doing its thing? And I guess potentially these other ones are still functioning, right? We'll have a quick look at that in just a minute. I do like the fact that it's actually going through there. Now the plan is if I grab this guy, right, we have a look, it's going to load up on, yeah, minuscule amounts. Oh, hang on. I've got, this is not, it's not wait until loaded. Crazy. Just make sure we don't do that. Otherwise it'll stand there forever because it's never going to get loaded. And wait until unloaded. That is fine. There we go. So you're moving. So you now have a mixed waste option, right? So mixed waste only. Can we say mixed waste? Right? Can we say, if we say mixed waste, store this item, does that make any real difference, right? Instead of, I'm hoping maybe that can solve things. So this is the plan, right? So once these things are better, we can have access to a little bit more of this, right? That's kind of the plan. I'm hoping that if we say it can't store anything else, it won't store anything else. But my worry is that this is actively not working anymore. Look how little there is there, right? You can just dump it on the side of the road, to be honest, this fertilizer that you've got here. Can I? The question is, can I can sell the vehicle. I can discard all the cargo. Haha, we're going to do that. We are going to do that. So instead of going to the last one to unload, you're going to load up there also any fertilizer. And then, well, we'll see what happens, right? Once you've loaded up there, there's nowhere else. Oh, then you'll go back to the first one. That's fine. Over here, let's just make sure we are storing whatever we need to store. The plan will be that we should try at least and get the rest going. So this should all be mixed waste, right? So the question is, if we click mixed waste and make sure they don't try and load up anything else in here, does that make any real difference? I'm very keen. So once we've got all of that, can we just discard that minuscule pile there and see how that goes? At least this should keep us running a little bit longer, but it is a weird one for me. Mixed waste. Mixed waste. This one still needs to be picked up here. Let's do that. Mixed waste. The plan is really that we try and keep it at mixed waste, right? Oh. No. Oh, we're missing one. Okay, hang on. I thought I had you here as well. So just go, no, let's go there and load up on that as well. And with that one in mind, just go to that one, please. It'll turn around and do that thing. So once that's done, so it's like 0.01 ton. Okay, so we'll go back in there and we'll just update that. Okay, so now this one is going to head back to its first stop. Now, with that in mind, can we just discard all the cargo? There we go. We've discarded all the cargo. We will then send you back to this area. So now you can go and work the field again. And here we can see we've immediately started bringing the mixed waste back in. And you can see it is doing its thing functionally again. Now let's have a quick look here. Is that slowly decomposing? Oh, it is. Or yeah, so the ash here it is slowly going down. So now we've got the extra pieces in here. So hopefully we will get that back up and running again. So these empty ones is the one you need to be worried about. Global market report is looking good. Okay, now we don't want to necessarily come into this area. We want to make our way through here. Things are looking pretty good. Our new power infrastructure is being constructed through this area. That's awesome as well. And now what I need to have a look at is we need a few different things here. Now, we don't have a lot of room. And what I'm kind of wondering is, do we fill this thing up, or do we just try and, if we potentially just move this, it could be useful. Now, what we want is, from a storage perspective, we want preferably something with a rail track on it, right? If it has a rail track directly built in, it means the rail can run straight through, right? So we should have some of them that has rail associated with it. Some of these should have rail incorporated, right? I don't know which ones. So this one has, right? So this one does. This one? Oh, this one does as well. Okay, that's pretty good. And we don't have a lot of room where these things can tie together, right? This is the problem on this side. This is the problem on this side. So potentially we need to turn these a little bit more. So if we go, let's just go and see our example area where we've got one of these already. Not Vasestavi, but over here somewhere. Yes. So we've got this one already, right? So it's got one. We have wood here, so that's an open storage that's going in there. And we've got crops and chemicals, so open storage, and then we've got one of these. So it does not take a lot to make that work. This one, on the other hand, needs access to where these chemicals are being produced. So I think what we actually need is a crops delivery system and a wood delivery system. So those are the ones that we want. So maybe this kind of setup could still work. And then we need gravel, right? We need gravel as well. So we'll have a look at that. So if we go, so from a crops perspective, we could actually do kind of one of these guys, right? That can give us crops, plus it has a, so we could quite comfortably, it does not want to. If we did this, we could do that, right? So we could potentially do something like this, right? Then that is crops. And we have a problem that this isn't going to work. So let's try and get these things on the same side at least. Okay, let's cancel this. We need to plan this out a little bit better for rail stuff, right? So if we demolish this building and we copy paste whatever, we grab this one, right? So what we want is we want to make sure that we're flipping it around, and yeah, so something like, oh, it takes its own yeah, so it's got its own rail connectivity in there anyway. So we could drop it directly in. But what we can also do is we could do maybe something like this, right? So let's see if we did. How much storage do we have in these buildings? Let's just double check it again. I know we've looked at this before, but I just want to make sure about it. So this is the big guy, right? Yeah. So this is the big guy. It's got storage for wood. Oh, it needs oil as well, but it's got fairly reasonable storage facilities in here. So So the thing that we've got the least of and that we probably need the most of, no, we need them in pretty equal variance. They are pretty reasonable with their requirements here. Maybe we just drop off directly in here, all right? Because we've got reasonable amounts of storage. The one thing that worries me a little bit is the crops, right? We don't really have a lot of crop storage. So maybe where we've got it is we can just get the crops to be delivered as is. So maybe that's the plan, right? So if we go back to, say, this setup here, and maybe we flip it around and we turn it and we do this, and then maybe we can still grab the crops in there, right? So the crops could still go in here. So we do that, right? It's pretty much where we had it previously. And now we go back to storage. We do storage again. We grab this guy. How much crops does this one take? 3,200. We don't need more than that. I'm pretty sure that's going to be just fine. But what that does give us as well, it gives us an option to do... It gives us an option. This is just not gonna work. So if anything, we're gonna do it this way around. No. Hang on. We do this. We flip it. Yeah. If anything, that's gonna work, but we still need to move this one further away. So what we'll do is we'll demolish that. We will grab the cloning tool. And I guess this is flip. No, we want to flip it around and turn it around. Yeah, we're giving ourselves a lot more room here. So we'll do something like that. That's pretty good. And we go back. We try and do the storage. So it takes a little bit of planning here. Now, what we want to do is we want to flip this one around to be able to kind of do maybe something like this, right? So that should give us the crop storage, in which case we can also do start to do food from here, right? If we just have a quick look at this, right? We could do a food factory here also. A food factory and even a... Okay, so let's, to be honest, let's quickly demolish that, get ourselves a larger grain storage. I think that's the plan. Get ourselves a nice large grain storage, maybe the 8,000 variable. Yeah, which works a little bit better here. Maybe this way around instead. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Well, maybe this way. I think that's okay, right? Because what we could do... So if we did that, right? So now we've got a large grain storage in here. And we could then obviously combine that with some food production. So if we go with not a farm, synthetic fertilizer, a food factory. What does this do? 20 tons, 30 tons. So this one does about 30 tons of food. The problem that we have here is that we don't need that one to connect to that side though. Anyway, let's see the more generic food factory. This one might be a slightly better option for us if we do a food factory in here. Right? That would actually work. So let's just do that as a bit of a planning option. We will need to see how we get people to work here. We don't need... I don't think we're going to do kind of this, right? We're not going to do any alcohol here. Livestock. A livestock farm and then a livestock hall. So a livestock farm could be something that we do here also. But before we get carried away, let's just go back and have a quick look. We're actually trying to sort out this, right? So this guy has room for gravel, but I guess what I'm thinking here is that gravel could potentially be something a little bit different. So if we get a rail loading, unloading piece, right? So we want a train aggregate unloading, but probably fairly small. These are all loadings. This is unloading. This is large, right? I mean, this could work. What other options do we have? Loading, loading, loading. Did I pause it? No, I'm not pausing. Maybe what we do is we just slow it down a tad. Loading, loading. This is unloading. So this is the smaller variant of the unloading. And the question is, I mean, this is pretty useful. If we go with a slightly larger version, we need to understand that these guys will all be running through this, right? So if we did this, I mean, we could tie that in, and we could even tie it in on this side. I think ultimately it's better to do something like this, right? And then we have it tied in, but we can't necessarily get both of them tied in. So at least then it'll fill up whatever it's got going there, and it can even spark in that area there. But then we don't necessarily have any extra storage available. Yeah, so if we do, I think something like this could work, right? Something like this could work, but we would want to, did we want to do some excess stuff, right? So if we, but I guess if we do that, then, okay, so let's just go back to the storage of the aggregate for a minute. So if we go to aggregate storage, we're kind of thinking maybe the smallest varietal here is going to be fine. And that goes in and out, but we would definitely want to give it a little bit more. So if we did, say, something like this as a storage, and then again something, can I please not have that, right? So if we go flip that around, go this way, do we have, yeah, we can road access it on the back there. So the idea would be that we try and do, the idea would be we try and do something like that. We go back to the train aggregate loading, unloading thingy, right, which is this one, which I guess now let's just flip it around and so that we can get this to work. Now we need to obviously have this. So that one can go directly in there, I think. That's going to be fine. But what we'll need, I don't think this is going to work, to be honest. I think let's forget about the extra area. And what we'll do is we'll just have a train dedicated to it. So let's demolish this. We'll try it again. I don't think we have the room to do what we're trying to do here. And we might be getting a little bit sidetracked with that. So if we do this, we should have a reasonable spacing. So let's just do, actually I'm kind of keen on doing, yeah, something like that. Okay, so let's do that, right? That we should be able to make all of this work now. So let's make sure we grab ourselves, the first thing we want to do is we want to do, so I thought we do, yeah, we do something like, So something like that is really the plan, right? So we can use both of them to run in there. Oh, and maybe we would want to do both of them over this way also. Okay. And then the idea is obviously we run in here. Can we try and tie this off a little bit? Oh, that does not want to work. So the plan is something like this, really, but we'll do that. We don't want that. We want to potentially run this one over here. And we want to run that one. Oh, we need to be a little bit more room specific here. So if we do this, we run that one in on that side. And again, what we'll do here is we'll try and do something like this. And we'll try and do something. And we'll try and do something like that to allow for the switch over. And I guess this is maybe a little bit out there. So let's go back, try and redo this one. So if we from here, no. We're from here, we're doing this one. Gonna run it straight a little bit more here. And then the idea is that we try and tie that one in. And then hopefully we can... The plan is that we want this to work. So that really does not want to work. Right, that's not working. Does not want to be working. That seems workable. And can we potentially get this to work? I don't think we need massive... Can we do the F4 thing here? No, that does not... It wants to snap straight to whatever we've got there. The plan is that if we can get this to work here, that does not want to work. Can we... If we do it from this side? They do not like it, man. I mean, we could maybe do something like this, right? I think that's fine, right? So now all of them can go anywhere and they should be able to bypass each other, no problems. Okay, so that's pretty good, I think. So we can run all of these rail out to this side. That's no problems whatsoever. It's just one spur off of this line that's running out that way, right? And of course, what we also need to do is we just need to probably just no, don't do that. Oh man. Excellent. Managed to save that one. Now what we want to do is we just want to run this one out this way and tie that in there as well. So at least we're getting into both of them. Actually, to be honest, let's bring that back even further if we can. So that's not quite working. That's not quite working. We need it a little bit. Really? Are you really gonna... Are you really gonna be painful like that? Let's do the non-snapping option. No, that's not wanting to work. So let's just bring... Actually, let's snap this one to this area. And actually, we can just tie it in directly like this, right? So that gives us at least a little bit of extra room here for that without maneuver. Okay, that's fine. So from this way, we will then provide ourselves with this stuff, right? Let's flip it around. We'll go that way. And the plan is really for us to... Yeah, so I guess this is all good. We'll power that up and that should be able to give us reasonable stuff. So let's flip this one around again. We'll go in here and... Right, this is awesome. There we go. So that gives us reasonable access to this area. We've got unhappiness in Invasistavi, which is a constant issue that we're dealing with. Okay, so now we're dropping gravel off directly in here, but we can effectively stop a train in there. No problems. And then from here, they can all go in here, or they can go to one of these areas, drop off directly um, in our area, so the kind of the logs and stuff, but we'll also have the area here for this. Now here we could still plan to build something else in this area. Now what I will say is we'll need to thread the needle with regards to a road connection through here. Maybe it'll have to run through here, so that's okay, we can make that work. We've got this potentially on this side. Now on what we need to do is we need a storage area for chemicals themselves. So chemicals needs to be stored. So let's quickly grab a storage facility for the chemicals. And I was thinking, chemicals, there's 480 tons of chemicals. This one will be 400 tons of chemicals. So the thinking here is that we would need, one of these. And that's actually not too bad. Okay, so that gives us chemicals and plastics, right? Oh, we don't necessarily. Oh, yeah. It'll need to be chemicals and plastics. So that's okay. I think that's going to be fine. Is there anything larger that we can potentially grab? Not really. I think that one makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, sizing wise, it really does make sense. This one does make sense. So I guess we're going to do this, right? Okay, so here we are exporting this, and then we're going into that direction. And then similarly, I mean, how much are we actually storing in one of these facilities themselves? We are storing 45 tons of chemicals. That's not enough. We need to store more. So I guess the other one, we want one more of these, and that's going to be predominantly our chemical export facility. So let's just go back to our storage areas. We grab this one yet again. The plan, however, would be that we would want to try. Okay, let's, if we flip this around, right, and we were to do this, I don't know if that'll actually work. Okay, so I guess what we can work. Oh, this is not going to be a thing here. So if we were to do, okay. If we were to do this, all right, and now the plan here would be that we do rail connectivity like so, but also like this way, right? Okay, so let's do that. So that's a little bit of rail connectivity there. We need to tie them all together. The issue here, however, will be that we will need to run. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? If we do this, yeah, that doesn't want to work. Grab that again. So we're doing a lot of this kind of stuff now to get everything to work. Okay, let's try and redo just a little bit of this. So let's try this one again. This is not quite in our wheelhouse just yet. So let's just demolish this guy for the time being. We're going to try it one more time though. This is the right one for us, I believe. And to be honest, with the road on that side, it should work. However, it cannot. Oh, yeah. With the road on this side, it should be okay. But then it's the track on this side as well. So let's see. If we were to... The problem is we're getting a little bit far away for this to easily work. If we bring it back this way, we need something like this, right? That will work. That is... Okay, so something like that could maybe be the trick, right? The trick that we need. So what we'll do is let's start by running this guy out like that. And then we'll run there and... Yeah, this may not really work. Anyway, we'll do that for planning purposes at the moment. We may come back and fix that a little bit. The idea really here is that we need... Okay, I guess we're going to... That's a little bit of a bummer. Okay, I think we're going to get rid of this one just a tad. Well, we'll move it over just a little bit. Right, and we'll just go back to the food factory. So we did kind of have it on this side. So if we do this, right, we should have enough room to make everything work here. So then we can just run... Yeah, now this doesn't want to work. Ugh, painful. Let's go back to the rail. Get this stuff deleted here, please. Okay. And the plan is really that we need to run something like this and then something like that. And then we need to also get a road across. Does not... It was working. I guess that's the plan there, right? So we'll do something like this and we'll tie that in there. So that should work, right? So that will work, and then we can kind of run the road out this way and shouldn't be too much of a problem. Can we... The big question mark here for me is, can we actually get a signal in here? So I guess we'll need to do signals there and there out of this side. So that should be at least reasonable, but the trains that's going to service this will have to be pretty short. Oh, anyway, that's okay. That's fine. And then similarly, we will be doing trains out of here. Right. Like so. And that will need to kind of pretty aggressively tie that way. And then, oh, what we also need here, of course, is... So I kind of wondering... Yeah, we'll need this, and then... Yeah, probably we'll need another kind of area here where we're picking up the stuff. Oh, it doesn't actually have one on the edge there. What are we looking for? This guy? How much food does this one grab? Yeah, that's reasonable. This one will work a little bit better. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Okay, so that's pretty exciting stuff. We've got so much happening in here now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run... We're going to run out this way. Like so. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. We could also do that, right? So we'll run multiple tracks out that way, because then this one will need to... It's a tight one. There we go. That seems workable there, and we'll tie this one back in on that side. So that seems all pretty good for us here to work together. We can bring these guys all back together and into something like that, really. There we go. So something like that gives us a nice big feeder in here. And the only other piece that we're missing is to potentially just run kind of a little something like this across here. And that will then, okay, hang on. Let's redo that and try and bring it in from this side. So the plan is really we'll do... That's the straight segment, which then gets us a little tight here, I think. I'd rather, okay, I'd rather not do that then. I'd rather we run it here. A little bit more like that, and then we turn it. I think that's beautiful right there. Okay, so that gives us a lot of rail connectivity through here. We can have some extra food being produced here. We can have lots of extra chemicals being produced here, and we will also have some additional other stuff in here as well. So we do need to bring a bit of a road connection through on that side, maybe on this side. We'll see how we do it with the road connections. We're probably about at the end of the episode, so a lot of bit of planning done in here. It's going to start snowing again. I'm loving the fact that our money is absolutely brilliant at the moment. Look at those exports. We can export some additional rail as well, I think. But this looks pretty good. It gives us the ability to drop off gravel and crops directly in the buildings. Will be what will go directly in the buildings. It'll be so gravel and crops. It'll be oil, which is pretty good, and it'll be wood, which is a bit of a lower amount. So we'll have to do wood in both directions, really. The only other, no, we can't have any further connectivity there. So I guess that's the name of the game here. If anything, we might in this area do something else. So let's have a quick look. So fabrics, for instance, right? If we go fabric, a fairly large fabric factory. How much is this? 25 tons, 22.25. So if we would, I'm not sure. Not sure this is the guy for us. But if we go, well, if we go the standard one can definitely fit in here. And the only thing it needs, it needs chemicals. Haha. Which you can obviously deliver to it. Okay, is there anything else that does not? What else does uses the grain? Food factory. So the only other option we have is potentially a livestock one. 10 tons, 10 tons. 15 tons. Now that's not quite going to squeeze in there. This one, yeah, no, I'd rather, I don't think we need, I mean, it's not going to produce it at that kind of rate, right? So potentially what we can do is we can also do another food factory on this side. Anyway, we could come back and maybe make use of something over here, or we can just get a road area where we can actually pick up crops and bring it to something else that we'll use on another side, right? So that gives us the ability to really load up on the stuff that we need. So this is going to be a good little area for us. So let us start that construction area there. Let us go and accept this one. Let us go and accept these ones as well for construction, right? So that's pretty good right there. And I guess the only thing that I'm also kind of wondering about is should we be doing something like this? So what I'm going to do, let me quickly get rid of this, which might be causing us some grief. And then the plan would be, can we connect this one? We bring it a little closer. Can we, yeah, so that will work. So if we did this, right? And we did that, come on. There we go. So that gives us the ability to use this rail connection. Yeah, that gets us back onto this rail connection for this one. So the question is, right? Actually, I'm kind of thinking we don't even need all of this. Let's go back. Let's clear this out again. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. We'll get rid of this one. The plan is actually, and then let's get rid of some of these paths, right? Or actually, we need the paths. Let's just try and rationalize this a little bit. So if we did this one here, right? So that's a little bit better. So now, actually, let's try this instead. So the plan is we run this up here. Oh, I love it. Run this up there. We tie this one in that way. And what we do... Do we try and bypass it at all? I don't think so. I think it's okay. And all we do is we do this, right? It's a little tight, but I guess that will be fine. So it's going to pick up some stuff over there, right? So it's a little tight like that. Yeah, that's way better. So now they're completely separated. We're not going to have any issues with it here. So that's fine. So let's do that. So at least we're all still doing that one direction. What I'm kind of contemplating is we could even... We could feed it to the other side, though I don't think it's necessary. We just come back out, loop it out here. Otherwise, it's just going to loop back on that side. So it really doesn't matter. So that's okay. We could use some other areas for that. So there we go. I guess that will do the trick for us. What we might also just quickly finish off here is we might quickly just add the road connection. Actually, let's do this. That runs the road connection up along this area here, right into that space, and then here we will cut across and tie it in, right? So something like that would work. But then similarly, we will be doing this and doing that. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. That does a fair bit for us there. And what we'll do is we just tie this one in on that side. There we go. So that's pretty well defined. What we still need to do is run this road connection up to here. And there we go. So that should all work. So let's accept those actions. So that puts this area, and then this area here could still be used, and we could even still grab some rail connectivity off, maybe even from the other side to run and loop it in from this side and then loop it back out that way. But either way, it seems pretty reasonable. So a bit of extra planning here for our new chemical production area. We should have, if we can get, obviously we'll need a tunnel, right? If we can get a tunnel to get workers to this spot here, I believe we should be all good. Workers. Potentially we need to plan for workers in this area here, but that's pretty good. I think tunnel will give us what we need, right? I might do one more thing here just to make sure we're planning this properly. So trim that back there. Give me this tool, and then the plan is instead we'll do that and that. beautiful. And then what this means is in this area here, we are doing proper tunnel work. Kind of right there. And we will do that and that to tie that in, get all of that constructed. We'll do that. And that should, hopefully, yeah, the issue is we don't have anywhere here where someone will be going to work. There's lots of worker connections there. This one will be just fine with a worker connection over here on this side. However, just thinking about it, we're not able to. We are able to cross it. Okay, beautiful. So we'll cross that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But anyway, we should be able to do that. Question mark is going to be around workers for this one. Otherwise, we may have to add an extra station on this side where we'll have workers come in for this area, which may be good because we might have to add some additional stuff in that area. Okay, perfect, guys. I'm gonna leave it there. It's been a long episode. I will see you in the next one. Do hit that like button. Leave your comments down below if you think we can use anything else in this area. But for now, I think I'm co-locating pretty nicely, and hopefully this will at least alleviate some of our chemical issues. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.